check it back and forth.
Erica, if you're typing, you might want to mute.
Oh, it really picks up, huh?
Yes.
Thanks.
Well, right now we're slowing
Loud and
down because
clear.
we're almost on transect, but so I'll do that test again another time to compare the two. But I think that it's pretty good. Ship move is coming to complete. We've got a few more meters on our transect here.
Well, maybe that one's not it, because I know I always have that number lower than that number, and I still run out of leash.
Right, so I think that that might be meters per second and not knots, because it's about half, a little under half, which would make sense, because half a knot is like, what, 0.25?
No, because if I went 0.5 meters a second would be 1 knot, right?
It would. All right, the
Got
ship move is
quite a
complete.
few grenadiers in this area.
We'll call that the end of transect. That's 150 meters.
Thank you.
Should we keep the ship moving?
Yeah, we can do that. Bridge nav. One more step. Let's do 100 meters, bearing east. Speed is fine at 0.7. Thank you.
I'll come back to the north there a little now. Back down the hill.
Roger, sounds good.
Part of the problem is I kept creeping to the south there to keep
Yeah, it
the
goes
slope
uphill
in.
and then,
Guy, do you have any guidance on our next move? I see Erica is working on filling out our tracking forms.
I would say let's just keep moving along towards 1B unless we hear from Guy. Yep, let's head towards 1B then.
Roger. Still heading east in that general direction. It's if we keep going east along this contour, it'll be a little bit downslope to 1B, but I know that was kind of a somewhat arbitrary point along the slope,
Yeah.
so it'll be a little bit upslope of it.
Roger that.
Few sea pens in this area with serpent stars attached to them.
Is that one derived from the DVL or from the USBL?
DVL.
Yeah, so it should be bang on then, right?
I'm just not convinced that the units that he put in there is correct. I think the number is correct for something.
You can maybe bring your head to the left a little, Jake. I was out too far to the south there, so it limits our excursion.
Erica, that looked like another slick head, but it was much lighter in color.
Ooh, I missed it. But good eye.
Good thing we're filming.
Right now. I do see a couple grenadier in view, probably a Pacific grenadier in the center. At the bottom left, it's either a Pacific or Philipper. I'm trying to remember its common name. Oh no, that's not a grenadier. That's a codling. Cool.
Oh, is that a cat shark? Just passing out of view. Small, very
I
small.
did.
Did you see it?
Oh, the one, this one right here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Pretty small. That's kind of an example of even in these very quiet sandy stretches, you just never know what's going to swim into view. It could be an octopus, it could be a shark, it could run into a whale fall, like was found last year down near Davidson Seamount, which we will be returning to in a few days. If some of you have seen the footage of that whale fall, you'll remember the large number of grenadier that were scavenging on that whale carcass. They are voracious scavengers. And I kind of feel like watching them laze around, I feel like they're kind of waiting for a whale to fall out of the sky, looking for something to work on.
So it is actually 0.7. That matches, that tracks. So we're going 0.7 on DP and SP sol. So given that you're tracking along at 0.4, it's either that number is wrong or the unit is wrong. That's my suspicion. In NAVG. That speed over ground is from Hercules. So we're trying to see like what those units.
Trying to match all three.
Yeah, trying to match the speed.
Otherwise, it gets out of the box. The camera start.
Bridge nav.
Yeah.
Let's add in one more step. 100 meters, bearing east. Speed is still fine. 0.7. Thank you. Yeah, so it's averaging at 0.7, and when we called in at 0.7. Sorry, scientists, for all the boring operations talk.
It's okay. It's the most
Has something
important stuff to
changed?
keep us moving.
Yeah, it is. Has something changed on the system that you're trying to work out?
Yeah, we're just trying to sort out on one of our readouts if it's reporting the correct units or the correct numbers or neither or one of each.
We have a new engine, Nautilus.
Yeah.
Thor is retired. And we also have a new DP system.
I hear the engine replacement was sorely needed and performing well. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the original engine from
1967, I think.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
giant, massive
Is
pistons.
there an odometer associated with that original engine?
Whew. Maybe there was, but I'd be afraid to see that.
Probably would have rolled over.
Certainly an hour meter.
Yeah.
We have some of the old analog gauges, big, beautiful gauges if you're into that steampunk kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not so steampunk, but definitely into boats.
And the new engine, of course, has got a computer running it, along with a small army of engineers to tend to it.
I'm sure breaking in a new engine, having the engineers get used to it, kind of like bringing a new staff member on, new crewmate that you have to get used to and figure out the quirks.
Yeah. There's always quirks with everything, and then integrating it with other systems that we have. So right now, our DP system, dynamic positioning, we have a jet pump in the aft of the ship that can spin its direction in order to keep us holding position, and we have a bow thruster on the front of the ship so we can hold our heading and move around laterally. But eventually we can incorporate the ship's new engine into that DP system and use it as an assist to hold position in more difficult weather, for example.
That sounds very useful in the Pacific.
Yeah.
Most poorly named ocean.
What kind of weather did they hit when they first named that?
All the stars must have aligned.
Kirsten, can you tell us some of the reasons why we're at Pioneer Seamount during this dive?
Yeah, so one of the things we mentioned was that bottom trawling regulations have recently changed in this area. And just earlier this year, these areas have opened, and it's an area that we haven't visited before specifically. And so we're trying to get a gauge on, characterize the area, have more knowledge so that we can come back in future times. But also if we identify areas that have very large coral forests of older species, it might be something that we would want to communicate to partners that are regulating whether bottom trawling happens in this area or not.
Yeah, and those corals can provide habitat for fish, so that's the reason why we'd want to protect those areas, right?
Yes, absolutely. And those coral are very long-lived species, and once any disruption would happen to that habitat, it's not that they don't recolonize quickly. So it's really important to protect great habitat and, you know, remaining populations of those species.
Thank you.
Mystery box.
If we get a good picture of that, if we have time to do that.
That looks like a
Frame
sea
grabs.
chest, doesn't it? With
It's
the
treasure chest.
kind of the paneling pattern on the top, it really does look like a sea chest.
It's pretty exciting. It looks like an old leather-bound book.
Dan, can you go open that up?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Steven. Zoom in there. Let me come down a little bit. Trying to come around on the slope here so we can get a good shot.
That's where my lost suitcase is.
Hey, zoom in there.
I'm dropping a target just in case.
That's good.
Any guesses what that
Speaking
is?
of steampunk,
Yeah.
I don't see any gold spilling out of it.
There was another one just up ahead.
Those do look like buckles on the top, don't they?
Wow.
Well, on this left side, it kind of looks like it's kind of folding out. I mean, anyone on Jan says ammo box question mark.
Yeah.
Do be careful.
Definitely
Okay.
a steel
So
box. Okay, Steve, you can zoom out.
let's not
Coming once.
touch this.
All right, thank you for that.
I did see something earlier that looked like an ordnance. It was a
something else up there.
kind of a torpedo bullet shape, but if it is that, we stay clear of those things.
Zoom in again there if you want.
Coming in.
Great, thanks.
Huh.
Weird.
Like an old bollard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool texture.
Could be wood.
Okay, can zoom out.
Thank you. Thank you. It could be some of the spillover trash from a Navy dump site west of here.
Erica, when's the last time you heard my voice?
10 seconds, 20 seconds. Have you been speaking?
Okay. All right. No, I just noticed I got bumped from V-Link and I wasn't quite sure how long I was off.
Oh, no, wasn't long. Ooh, this is nice. We've got a deep sea soul on the left of that debris. It looks like a Persian carpet. And then a larger, I don't know, maybe a Dover sole to the right. I'm not sure. Another piece of trash. Looks like a similar shape of that other one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Ship is
I
stopped.
see Robert Schwimmer
I'll
is
just wait to
still
call on the next one
on.
until you get ahead.
Robert, do you want to chime in on any of the debris we're seeing?
You can keep it moving.
Okay. You still want to go 0.7? Point slow to 0.5.
Yeah, you can do 0.5.
Bridge nav. 100 meters east, speed 0.5 knots. Thank you.
I wonder if those could have been Navy-sized flares. I know that one washed up on the San Mateo beaches, and I saw a picture of that, and it was very kind of similar in size and cylindrical and about that long.
You're a bit downslope.
So since we're in a marine sanctuary, discharge into the sanctuary is prohibited. And so those have obviously been down a lot longer than, they're not recent additions to the seafloor, but we certainly wouldn't expect to see any discharge like that these days. However, we never know.
And sometimes the military trumps our efforts because they have an important job to do as well. So sometimes we work with them they do some operations in our sanctuaries when they need
Bring
to.
your head back around to the east there if you want. Copy, Jake?
want me to
Look,
match Herc?
look east. Yeah, let me know when you're changing your heading, because I'm looking up there to see where I am out in front of you. And if I'm wandering off and you're chasing me, I don't know. And then all of a sudden we're
Backwards.
all messed up. And then
I'll be better about letting you know that too, but I don't want to.
we don't have, if we're not lined out in front of each other and the boat's moving, and we don't have time to stop and look at a sample or something. So if I'm as far to the east of you as I can be, then that gives us the maximum amount of time to stop and look at something while the ship's still moving.
Speaking of, at the end of this move that I just called in, we'll be around point 1B. It'll be slightly to the south, or slightly to the north of us, downslope, just 30 meters or so. So from there, 1C is quite far, still moving east, still along roughly the same type of slope that we've been seeing. Maybe there's some changes in with a little bit of rugosity here and there is yet to be determined. 1C is approximately 1.6 kilometers, bearing 085. So
Quick zoom there, Steve. Good.
Just gotten a photograph from Justin Hull, who's on Science Chat, sharing an image of World War II old ordnance, a whole variety of different shapes, and they look pretty much spot on.
so we should
So
not be too
that could
close to
very
these,
well.
is what you're saying.
I think that's maybe a good call.
Coming wide.
Zoom back in there, please.
Oh, sorry. Coming back in.
How expensive is Hercules?
Priceless.
Zoom right in. Ah, missed it. I was trying to work out if that was a square bolt there. Looks like steel around the wood. I thought I caught a glimpse of square bolt there. Okay, you can zoom out.
Taylor, and it would be great if we notate this in the annotation. I assume you are. You're really good at this.
I don't have you on there. On comms there, Taylor, and I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I got that. What is that called again? I have pictures of it.
It may be World War II ordnance. Old ordnance.
It looked like wood to me with a steel band around it.
Definitely mark it as debris, and we'll have to go back and look.
There are some of the pictures that I'm looking at. They do have kind of a variety of patterns and textures, banding and
that look like that?
Grenade type patterns. To some degree, it's a little bit hard. What I'm looking at is clear of encrusting critters, but it looks very similar.
So once we get to 1B, our geologist suggests we go up a couple contours and then head east to 1C. So just up the flank a little bit. It might be a little more interesting.
Sure. Roger.
We can do that.
We're basically at 1B.
Yeah. Yeah, the ship's gonna get another few meters to go. We're right around 1B, just south of it, upslope, probably 30 meters. And we can head upslope as much as you want.
South. So can we move them south then? That's upslope.
We can do that. Bridge nav. Let's hold position here and then call in a move 50 meters south. Thank you.
Okay, Jake, you can look to the south for look up the hill.
Yeah, we'll just go up a couple contours, not too far,
Oh, look at that shadow.
and then head east.
Roger.
Yeah, that was a cool shadow.
I was waiting for a massive shark to come into view, but it was probably a grenadier. Some more debris.
Zoom, quick zoom in there. Oh, sorry. Gonna miss it.
That's okay, as long as we notate it.
It's the same band around the bottom. It's the last one.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, zoom out, please.
Is there any indication if that's what they look like when they're spent or if they're still active? If that is indeed what they are?
Well, I am not an ammunition expert, so I will look to
Nor
Sorry,
am
I
I.
just don't
on
have those
that.
images. So.
Yeah, if there's a way for me to share them with you, let me know.
No worries. It's we'll make sure we're not getting too close to them anyway or poking them.
It reminds me of being a kid sailing off the coast of New England and seeing all the charts say, do not drop anchor here, do not drop anchor here.
Yeah.
Lots of surprises.
I don't think the powder would still be dry after decades on the seabed in a thin little metal shell.
How confident do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Confident enough to pick one up.
All right, you can tell that to Josh. How far upslope did you want to go? So I called in a 50 meter move, and that seems to have taken us. I didn't actually note the depth, but at least 10 to 20 meters upslope.
Yeah, we just wanted to go up a couple contours, so
Sure.
I'm not sure where that places us.
We'll go up maybe in a little bit more and see where we stand. I still don't see anything promising or ridge-like in Argus's scanning sonar in this direction, but we can go up another couple if you'd like.
Yeah. And then we'll head east. That sounds great. Thank you.
Sure. However, if we go up too far, it does flatten out. It turns into the top of this bit. So thread the needle somewhere in there.
What are we coming up on? 50 meters so far?
50 meters horizontal movement, and I think that last ordinance was at 1150 meters depth, and we're now at 1120. So 30 meters upslope.
Right.
And how far are these contours apart?
These are 10-meter vertical contours.
Okay. Well, then let's start heading east then.
Okay.
Another eel pout there.
Bridge nav. One step, 100 meters, bearing east.
Quick zoom in there, Steve.
Thank you.
That's good, thanks.
Ooh, that's a good looking one, Dan.
An eel pout. Looks like he's had a few fights.
Had a hard life.
All right, thank you.
Okay, you can zoom out, please. Thank you. All right, Jake, I'll come to the east now. You can come a little bit slower when you come, and if you want, then, but I'll fly. Once you're there, you can stay there now, and it'll zoom out from underneath you.
I didn't know Argus could turn that fast.
You crank the gain up, it can.
So once we get moving along, we can probably move at a relatively quick speed. I don't know if a half knot is quick.
I've been calling a minute a half knot. We can go probably, I'm up to 0.7. It's feeling pretty fine, right?
Yeah, I'm happy with 0.7.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So
Still about half as fast as the average person walks, but
yeah. Gives us some time to stop or encounter something if we do. Otherwise, it's bridge nav.
okay, that's everybody looking east.
Let's increase speed to 0.7 knots. Thank you.
So I come to the north of you a little bit.
Do you want some more fun facts on ordnance? Justin has fed me some more information. It looks like even in 2014, some First World War grenades caused some death. It looks like maybe some of the most concern is poisonous gases that they can still
So I'm going to have you come
contain.
upslope a bit, maybe, Dan, and that way Argus can get that
Yeah, right.
a little bit out.
There's a nice deep sea sole. They're so pretty.
Beautiful. I don't know if you're on yet, Erica, but we got a really nice close up on one that was just spectacular.
Oh no, I didn't.
You can
You can see this.
change, bring your head to 135, please, Jake.
Again, we're seeing some holes in the sediment, so there's some bioturbation going on under the sediment by animals.
Looks like some snails back there. There's some umbellula.
This depends.
Yeah. This slope has been so uniform and kind of, you know, sedimented. We really sometimes we'll go down on a slope like this and there'll be, you know, steep rocky outcrops and then smooth bits, but it's really been kind of uniform.
Yeah, Guy Cochran was saying that some of this is a slump. I'm gonna look back at his notes and maybe I'll be able to describe it. Yeah, it said, in general, the canyon axis and lower flank are debris that has slumped off the upper flank. So we may just be
Ah,
seeing that slumped off layer
yeah,
in these depths.
pretty good info.
He was
Thanks, Guy.
suggesting that elevation could prove rockier, possibly. Is Umbellula a species that can completely retract itself into the sand?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh,
I
Jan
don't know.
says nudibranch. Did we miss that? Oh, and we just, pyrosome just floated by.
I'll tell you a little bit about Umbellula. It's called the droopy sea pen, and it is bioluminescent. And when it's threatened, it bioluminescence along the colony. Trying to see if it retracts, though.
Jan Valeto says, I don't think they retract.
Yeah, I would agree with her.
Yeah, they seem to be a little softer seeming.
When threatened, the muscular base of the colony digs through the mud and the sea pen contracts its polyps and quickly slides under the sediments, allowing the sea pen to rapidly bury the entire colony.
Huh.
All right, so it can.
Hasn't been threatened by
Okay.
us then.
They still outnumber us. Thank you
These
for looking
often
that up,
occur in the
Erica.
yeah, they often occur in the oxygen minimum zone, which I assume we are in.
We are at 2.3%.
And the droopy sea pen holds the record for the deepest sea pen. It was found at 5,500 meters.
It's impressive.
Little tidbits.
A lot of these
5 times
solitary sea
our
pens.
depth.
Yeah.
As far as I understand, the low oxygen saturation here, low dissolved oxygen, is a big, really controls kind of what fish species we're seeing. Is that right? We have all the species that we're seeing are species that can handle low oxygen.
Yes, definitely. The Dover sole and the thorny heads are definitely specialists in that regard.
Black-tailed snailfish.
Ooh. This is pretty characteristic of a soft bottom environment. We're seeing a nice variety of things though, with different fishes and different sea pens and snails. This is nice. Wonder why we're not seeing sea cucumbers though.
Yeah, I haven't seen any holothurians or of any kind. There's a lot of things that are kind of missing. I haven't seen a lot of, usually there's a ophiuroid on the sea pens. I haven't seen them except for early on when we first got down in the valley.
I think we had one holothurian near where we took that last sample, is that right? And that's the only one I've seen. That's the sea cucumber.
That shark we saw earlier was a treat. What would be your hopes and dreams of what species you'd like to see, Kirsten?
Dumbo octopus is always on the list.
Of course, it's our specialty, right?
Rennie, it sounds like you may have a favorite.
Stand by. Bridge nav. One more step, 100 meters east. Thank you. Sorry about that. What was that?
I imagine you might have a favorite species you'd like to see.
Sure. We were talking about this earlier, and everyone keeps making fun of me because I've become less and less of a fan of the charismatic megafauna and more a fan of different corals that are just interesting. See, they're also unique, but
yeah.
I would really love to see more black and bamboo corals.
yeah, really spectacular stuff.
We will see a bunch of those at Davidson for sure.
Mm.
And I'm hoping to see a blob sculpin at Davidson. Those are always fun to watch.
Yeah.
Jan wants to see a sperm whale.
I'll take a whale. That'd be great.
What's a
Whale
blob
fall
sculpin?
or live, Jan?
What was that, Steve? What's a blob sculpin?
Yeah.
It's a fish.
Oh, a sculpin. Okay.
Yeah. Looks like
They are really
very
flabby.
grumpy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this one's
Jan is
particularly.
very consistent on our access cruises where we're doing whale and seabird observations. She always asks for a sperm whale. So at least she's consistent.
Consistent, yeah. I really like, we've seen two of them now. One was in Revillagigedo Islands, and the other was in, I think it was in Papahanaumokuakea, or no, or it may have been somewhere else in the Pacific, but it was the Deep Staria jelly. Those are just really spectacular and kind of eerie to look at.
I was watching last week when you all were diving up in Olympic Coast, and I couldn't believe how lush, how thick the Paragorgia were in some of those sites. They were just so robust looking. All the polyps out.
Yeah, and those were a lot, I think, on the rocky outcrops, which hopefully we'll run into some of those here, but if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of where they were hanging out.
Yeah. Jim says the blob sculpin has pink eggs.
Pink
I don't think
eggs?
I've seen the eggs, but they do. Let me look up something. Yes, there have been some large aggregations off the Mendocino Ridge where they've been brooding their eggs, sort of like the octopus do.
Hmm.
That'll be fun to see.
Sperm whales also aggregate when they have their young. So that's one for you, Jan.
Is it possible to get a little closer to the seafloor, or is our speed dictating that?
Yeah, I can come down a little bit.
Thank you.
I think we're coming down the
Got
hill.
a seed pen.
Yeah, the next move I call in, if we want to stay along contour and head to 1C and also not get to the top where it flattens out, I think I'll be moving more 070.
We just saw kind of an interesting sea pen, tall and white, up near the top of the screen. If we see another one of those, let's try and zoom in on it.
Sure. Was it vertical?
Or you can go have a look if you want.
Mhm.
I was.
I think we're okay, but
Kirsten, was your question if you wanted to zoom in on something?
Jan also saw it, and she asked that we zoom in on the white sea pen. So if we see another one, let's try and do that.
Okay.
What'd she say? The white
Yeah, it
sea
was
pen?
white.
Yeah.
White and upright. We've passed it quite a ways now, but if we see another one,
Okay.
I will call it out.
White and upright. We will
Okay.
keep an eye.
What we're doing right now is great, you guys. Thank you so much. This is good.
Dan's really got it dialed. It's perfect.
We appreciate it so much. Oh, that's a nice shrimp in the water column.
Yeah.
Swimming.
Dan, how long have you been driving ROVs?
Since 19 something.
20 plus years.
Yeah, at least 20 years. Looks like you've clocked some hours yourself.
What's that?
Looks like you've clocked a few hours yourself.
Yeah, clocked a few hours.
Understatement.
Possibly since before Jake was born.
Yeah.
Still spend more time working on the things than we do flying them though.
Well, that's what happens when you drop a bunch of electronics in salty water.
All right, I'm going to call in some of, I'm going to go 070.
Roger, 070.
Bridge nav. One step, 100 meters, bearing 070. Thank you. And on shore, if you ever want me to take a zoom out on HiPAC, just let me know. I've added in the bathy on top just because that the backscatter wasn't really proving to be super useful at the moment, but I can always go back to it. It's kind of on there, transparent in the background.
Okay, thank you for that.
At a crab eating a crab. Crabs embracing.
You can probably bring your head to the left a bit there, Jake. Seems to be balancing out in the corner.
Want me to come around even more?
No, I'll come ahead a little bit.
Okay.
I think I'll end up going back to 90 after this move anyway.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, 1C is quite downslope, so I'm trying to ease us towards it rather than get way upslope and then have to drop back.
Yeah, don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Try if you look 090 now, see what happens.
The land of the sea pens.
Yeah, I think that's what all these are. Jan was thinking they might be some of the predatory sponges that look like pipe cleaners, little white pipe cleaners, but I think these are all sea pens.
You can zoom in on one if you want.
Sure, there's one in the center. There's several in the center, or wherever you can find a good landing noon point. If they do happen to be the predatory sponge, we'll want to collect one.
There's a lot of them, whatever they are.
Can you zoom in on any of them?
Yeah, stand by. We're just waiting for Argus to
Oh,
come
Roger.
towards me a little so I can turn our head into the hill to land. I need just a little more leash for to turn around without destroying the vis. Otherwise that happens.
Yeah, these are all sea pens.
Can
So
zoom
that's
in
fine.
there
We can,
if you want.
sure.
Go ahead,
Some of the
Steve.
shorter ones.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah, these are all sea pens. Get a couple frame grabs and then we can move on. Thank you. That's great.
Am I getting
It
frame grabs back
satisfies.
there?
Oh, got some screen grabs for you.
Taylor, and bring that microphone real close to your mouth.
What's that?
Is that better?
Yeah, a little under there.
Yeah, you can get like real close. Yep.
Cool.
I
Yeah, I got
can't.
those screen grabs.
I can't hear back there.
There you go. We're good.
Okay, coming
Thank
wide.
you. We're good. Well, that satisfies that curiosity. Those are sea pens.
It's good to know. That way we can keep an eye out if anything looks different from those.
Yeah. I think the predatory sponge will be more on hard bottom.
Mm.
Is that a
the
poacher
sea
we
pens
just
are-
passed over?
Oh, I missed it.
I didn't get a good look.
I think we might be dragging on the right corner.
Yeah, it could be. Judging by the, oops, wrong button. Sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna call in some 90-degree move.
Right.
Bridge nav. One step, 100 meters, bearing 090. Thank you. We have our speed up at 0.7. Still happy with that?
Yeah.
Seems to be good.
Not sure
Yeah,
how it is. The
good for us.
ship does 0.7 and I do 0.4, but
I think it's meters per second. That would check out.
can't be. You think so?
Yeah, be about half.
That's closer to a knot, though.
No, it's the other way. If you're going 0.4 meters per second, it's about 0.7 knots. Because half.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, so if you're going,
to a knot.
no, if you're doing 0.4, and we're doing 0.7, that tracks as about the same.
Oh, I see what
Yeah,
I just double it.
yeah.
So,
Double.
0.8,
Yeah,
whatever.
28. Yeah, something like that.
I don't have a chart on the wall next.
I'm also now now Bob's getting me thinking about this whole gain thing versus
Yeah,
speed.
maybe that is. So, but
It's mystery.
it doesn't seem like half a meter a second that we're doing.
No.
No. Usually half a meter a second to me looks more like.
Right.
Just too fast to survey.
Right.
Maybe they're both just like 20%.
I don't know, because then we have the C path as well. And so we have the C path and this one are in agreement about how fast we're going.
Right.
So that's a DP's, which is a different GPS from the C path.
So that's 3 GPS against 1 DVL?
Yeah, yep.
So while we're in the sea pen bed, I'll tell you some fun facts. Sea pens are actually colonies of several individuals, and they work as one. And the star